On December 1st, I got the kind of news no one ever wants to hear. All the tests were in, and they confirmed what I had feared, stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Which means, unless some miracle shows up, this will be my last holiday season. Strangely enough, I have come to peace with it. I have lived a full life, one I am proud of. And the people I love, they will be taken care of. I'm a pretty private guy by nature. So I did not tell my wife, Lisa, about the tests while they were still happening. I did not want to worry her without knowing for sure. Once I had the answers in hand, I decided to go home early and sit her down for that talk. This kind of conversation, you do it face to face, not over text, not on the phone. But that day, things took a turn I never saw coming. When I pulled into our driveway, there was this fancy car parked right in front of the house, one I recognized right away. It belonged to Brad, one of my business partners. The man even has a personalized license plate, so there was no mistaking it. Seeing his car, there was strange, way out of place. I pulled up our home camera system on my phone to take a quick look, but it was set to privacy mode. No recording. I could feel something turning in my gut, but I did not go inside. Instead, I drove out to our farm property. I needed space to breathe and think. The camera system at home is mostly for safety, and I do not check it unless I have a reason. But I have always enjoyed watching the outside cameras, especially during storms or when deer and raccoons pass by. So, just for fun, I had rigged up a second video recorder that saves all the footage to a local server. That one is not connected to my phone, only to the computer at the farm. When I got there, I fired up the computer and pulled up the recordings. And there they were, Lisa and Brad. They were in the living room, drinking wine, dancing, then heading upstairs. The doors must have been open because the mic picked up more than I wanted to hear once they left the camera's view. With the little time I have left, I want answers. But I do not want drama. I do not want the mess of a confrontation or a drawn-out divorce. Maybe that makes me a coward. But the love I had for Lisa, it disappeared in that moment. Of course, I felt the things you would expect. Betrayal, sadness, anger. But none of this is on me. I have been a loyal, affectionate, and committed husband. So now I am turning my focus inward. I know who I am. I know what I stand for. I called my lawyer that same day. We went over my will and the prenuptial agreement Lisa and I signed before we married. I explained everything and asked him to look into how long this affair had been going on. What we uncovered was hard to swallow. Either I never really knew the woman I spent over 20 years with, or something inside her changed along the way. For now, I'm not saying a word to the kids or to Lisa. Lisa and I do not have children together, but I have kids from a previous relationship. I am planning to keep a brave face through the holidays. My kids and grandkids deserve one last good memory with me. I will be the father and grandfather they know, and I will do my best to play the role of loving husband just a little while longer. Some background, since I know the questions that come up. Brad, Lisa's affair partner, is a widower. He never remarried. Yes, he is a business partner, but he is not a friend. I never mix business with friendship. My kid's mother, Rachel, and I had twins when we were young. They were not planned, but they were very much wanted. Rachel later married a good man named Tom when the kids were 7. They never had kids together. I cleaned up my act when the twins were around 3, and I have been fully present in their lives ever since. Rachel, Tom, and I are all in our 60s now. Lisa is close to 60, and Brad is somewhere in his 50s. Lisa and I got married in our 30s. First marriage for both of us. Christmas is always a big deal in our family. A whole week-long tradition. Everyone comes to the farm, from Christmas through New Year's. We cut down a tree, cook, decorate, and celebrate as a family. Rachel and Tom have been part of it ever since I bought the farm. I have decided I will not tell anyone about my illness until after the new year. If I tell Rachel, she will not be able to hold it in, and I do not want to put Tom in a spot where he has to lie to his wife. This week is for the kids and grandkids to enjoy. Lisa's presence during this time? Honestly, it does not matter much anymore. I care more about the rest of the family. Now about the money side of things. Lisa and I were both financially comfortable when we met. She had a great job, a strong pension, and 2 family inheritances in trust. Early on, at her request, we agreed not to disclose our total worth to one another. She also pushed for a prenup that protects any property or trust from before the marriage, along with income from those assets. None of that is considered shared property. I provided everything during our marriage, both homes, utilities, travel, fuel, groceries. I handled it all. She spent her money entirely on herself. Her car, her wardrobe, her personal vacations, cosmetic procedures. Yes, she is stunning. But over time, her beauty on the inside has disappeared. Right after my diagnosis, I announced my retirement from the nonprofit where I have worked for years. Knowing what I know now, I noticed Lisa looked uneasy when I said it. I can guess why, because I'll be home more. Tomorrow is my final day of work. From there on out, I will be spending as much time as I can with my family. I handed off access to the camera server to my lawyer. So I do not know if Lisa and Brad have kept seeing each other, but I'm assuming they have. At this point, I do not care. I know who I am. I know what I've built. And I know that Brad is not even close to the man Lisa thinks he is. He may have flash and show, but I know his numbers. The trust One Manage has invested in his business. I get financial reports every quarter. I never tell anyone how much I have. That is between me and my accountants. But I will say this. The trust has been growing steadily for 30 years. I live modestly, drive a 15-year-old pickup, wear jeans and flannel. I stay under the radar. And there is enough in that trust for my great-great-grandchildren to grow up on the farm and have their college paid for. When Lisa finally realizes what she threw away, it will be her reckoning. I just will not be around to see it. December got busy fast. All the usual holiday events. Brad showed up to one of them, and it was hard not to watch Lisa. I do not think they noticed me noticing. Between work wrapping up and all the holiday prep, I have had enough on my plate to keep myself composed. Lisa has not said or done anything to make me think she knows that I know. I'm not proud of it, but yes, we are still sharing a bed. I've been selfish with her lately, but she has clearly been using me for at least the past year. So, maybe I'm not the honorable man people think I am. But do not worry about her walking away with everything. She will not. The trust is solid and in good hands. I have given clear instructions for how it will be managed, even if I pass away suddenly or lose the ability to make decisions. I have also arranged for in-home care when the time comes. Lisa will not be the one taking care of me. If I become incapacitated, the lawyer will inform Rachel, Tom, and the kids, and Lisa will be kept away. Important papers, valuables, and personal keepsakes have all been moved to a safe, undisclosed location. And finally, I have started writing letters to each member of my family, and to Lisa. Those have been harder than I thought they would be. Update. Mission accomplished. We had a wonderful, peaceful holiday together. No drama, no pain, just memories. And I made it to the new year, January 2023. More to come if you're ready. I have found that humor helps me cope with this whole situation. Laughing, at least a little, keeps the heaviness from swallowing me up. Lately, I have noticed I'm being more selfish than usual, but maybe I'm allowed that right now. Everyone left yesterday afternoon, and I'm sitting here alone, just reflecting. I will not get into the details of the week I just had with my family. That is something I want to keep for myself, something to hold close in my heart. Now, as for Lisa, being around all of us for the entire week seemed to really wear on her. Watching her, knowing what I know now, everything started to make more sense. Her behavior, her small disappearances, it all added up. She kept her phone close, real secretive about it. And she found more than a few reasons to step outside for some air, always conveniently timed. One of my favorite moments was when she said she needed to run into town, and one of the grandkids asked to go with her. The mental gymnastics she did to avoid taking that kid were almost funny. I played along, casually asking her, why not bring them? She had no good answer. So yeah, the affair is clearly still going on. Now that I am retired, Lisa has started asking about my plans for the day or the week. I tell her exactly what I'm doing, then flip it back on her. I will probably suggest we grab lunch sometime this week, just to throw her off. Unpredictability is a cheater's worst enemy. This morning, I met with my lawyer again. I made some decisions and asked him to get the paperwork started. First off, I scrapped the temporary will and signed a new permanent one. That is done, finalized, and should not need to change again. Then, just in case everything hits the fan, I had him draw up divorce papers. Based on the prenuptial agreement and the proof we gathered, Lisa walks away with only a quarter of our shared household items. Things like furniture and kitchen stuff. That is it. I keep everything else, my liquid assets, retirement funds, and anything I paid for with my own money. Technically, if I push it, she might even have to pay me alimony. I signed the divorce papers already. The lawyer is holding onto the full packet, complete with evidence of the affair. It is all locked and ready to go if I decide to use it. I also sold my loan to the trust, which allows the trustees to convert it into shares in Brad's company. That part felt especially good. Speaking of the trust, I made some big decisions there too. I will reduce my role to just a 1% trustee. The twins, my son and daughter, will take over the bulk of it. The remaining portions will be split among the grandkids. Until each grandchild turns 24, Rachel and Tom will act as their proxies. If any small percentage remains unassigned, Rachel gets that share. Next week, I will have a sit-down meeting with Rachel, Tom, and the kids. I plan to tell them everything. They will need to sign documents, and they will want to understand why I'm making all these moves. Once that is done, my personal assets will include only my liquid funds, personal property, and the money for Brad's loan. In the worst-case scenario, Lisa ends up with almost nothing compared to what sits inside that trust. Over the next couple of weeks, I will start quietly handing out the few personal keepsakes I want the kids and grandkids to have. They are already in a safe location that my lawyer can access if needed. Some of you have asked about my health. Just so we are clear, I am not fighting the cancer. I am letting nature take its course. That means I have no side effects from chemo or radiation, since I am not going through either. But I did notice this week that I tire more easily. The family picked up on it too. I laughed it off, saying it was just the old man getting older. The cough is still there. That is actually what started everything. Turns out, it was the lung tumors that led doctors to find the pancreatic cancer. I told everyone it was just a lingering cough from COVID. No one questioned it. Once other symptoms show up, things will go downhill fast. I know that. But by then, the people I care about most will already know what is coming. This past week was probably my last chance to be with the entire family for an extended stretch of time. Big trips are hard with everyone's schedules. That week meant everything to me. I am considering a short solo trip, but we will see. For now, my next goal is to spend one full day with each child and each grandchild. One-on-one time. I want those memories. Update. Today, I invited my lawyer, a notary, the twins, Rachel, and Tom to the farm. The big tasks I needed to get done, they are finished. And honestly, it went about as well as I could have hoped. Of course, the emotions were high. When everyone arrived and saw the lawyer and the notary, the tension in the room was thick. I asked them to sit and let me talk, to sign the documents afterward, and then I promised to answer every question they had. They all knew the trust existed, but I explained why I was stepping down and turning it over to them. I told them how much it has meant to me, how it helped me live the life I wanted. I reminded them that Lisa was never part of the trust by mutual choice. I laid out how the trust would be divided and how Rachel and Tom would manage the grandkids' shares until they were old enough. They trusted me. They signed and got everything notarized. After the paperwork was done, I walked the lawyer and the notary to the door and thanked them for giving up their Sunday. They were kind as always. When I came back to the dining room, it had become our conference room by then. Everything was quiet. My daughter was the first to speak. Or rather, she let loose a flood of thoughts. When she paused, I started in. I told them about my diagnosis. I told them about the cancer. Right away, they started making plans. How we would fight this. What treatments I should try. That is where I stopped them. I told them the truth. The odds are terrible. I got a second opinion, and I have made peace with it. I'm not going through treatment. I'm not doing chemo. I'm going to let things unfold naturally. We argued for more than an hour. My daughter had to leave the room a few times. Rachel followed her each time, trying to calm her down. While they were gone, Tom, my son, sat with me, and we had a real heart-to-heart. They do not like my choice, but they get it. Eventually, we all calmed down. And then came the next question, the one I knew would come. When did you find out? I told them. There was another wave of sadness and anger. I explained why I waited until now to tell them. I wanted that last week. I wanted one more Christmas where I was not the dying man. I was selfish, but I did it for them too. I did not want this diagnosis to darken their holiday memories for the rest of their lives. My daughter could feel there was still something I was holding back. She went full detective, would not leave the room until everything was out in the open. And so, I told them what I shared in my first post. I told them about Lisa, about Brad, about the cameras, about everything. That was the first time I saw true rage in my daughter's eyes. Then I told them what might be the hardest truth of all. Lisa still does not know I know. They had questions. Lots of them. Some of them are the same ones you all asked in comments. So thank you for preparing me. I was ready. I made it clear that I value them more than I have ever valued Lisa. I asked them, begged them, not to confront her. Let me handle it. Do not say anything about the trust. Nothing changes for now. When my health worsens, we will adjust. They agreed. After all of that, we made dinner together, talked, laughed, cried, broke into smaller conversations. It felt like a family again. They left about an hour ago, but I know the twins will be back soon. And yes, I know they will tell their spouses. That is who they are. And I love my in-laws too. Last night was my final quiet night. I can feel it. I am relieved to have told them. But now I carry a new kind of weight. Update. A surprise visitor stopped by today, Lisa's friend Carol. She is around Lisa's age and was with her during their girls' night out last week. In fact, that night out was hosted at Carol's house. If you've been following what I've shared so far, then you might remember me saying that last week. Lisa came home completely drunk after one of her girls' nights out. She used a rideshare to get back, which was unusual. That night was hosted at Carol's house, an old friend of hers. Funny thing is, Lisa seems to have forgotten that I was the one who introduced her to Carol in the first place. Carol's parents were friends with mine back in the day. We go way back. Turns out, my unpredictability these past few weeks has been messing with Lisa's balance. That night, it broke her. She drank way too much and, in her drunken state, opened up to Carol about the affair. Carol told her to stop talking, told her she didn't want to hear it, but Lisa just kept going. Detail after detail. Tried to explain herself, justifying every decision like it was no big deal. The next day, Carol called Lisa to follow up. Lisa didn't remember anything, denied all of it, said Carol must have misunderstood. Carol didn't buy it. She gave Lisa a week to come clean, to tell me the truth herself. If she didn't, Carol said she would tell me everything. Lisa stuck to her lie, said nothing happened, kept pretending like she had not spilled her soul the night before. So, Carol came to me. We sat down over coffee, and she gave me the short version of what Lisa had confessed to her. She expected me to fall apart, but instead, I told her I already knew. That caught her off guard. I asked her a few questions, like who else was in the house that night when Lisa opened up. Carol said no one, just the two of them. Then I asked if she had told anyone else about it. She looked a little offended and told me she would never do that. Not without telling me first. I appreciated that. I apologized and told her I had my own timeline for handling Lisa, and I needed to control the situation. I asked if she could hold off saying anything to anyone else. She agreed to that. But when I asked if she could pretend to still believe Lisa's denial, just to keep the illusion alive a little longer, she hesitated. Said it didn't feel right. I understood, but asked her to try. Carol said that if I needed anything else, I should just say the word. I will have to make another apology down the line when she finds out about my diagnosis, but that is something I will handle in time. Now, I knew it was time to confront Lisa. We have a standing date night every week. Same restaurant. Same table. It is quiet, tucked away from the loud bar crowd. It felt like the right place. I decided I would do it after dessert, hoping the setting would keep any drama at bay. I had everything set up. My lawyer and his wife had a reservation at the same time. I gave our longtime server the payment for both tables in advance. She's known us for years. Carol was on standby, ready to help Lisa get home once I left. I wanted this to be clean. The plan was simple. Let the dinner run normally, record the conversation, then confront her calmly, lay it all out. The affair, my diagnosis, the plan for the future. Then hand her a letter asking her not to contact me or my family, along with a briefcase full of evidence and the divorce papers. And then, just walk away. I figured Lisa would try to maintain her image, stay composed. Well, as the saying goes, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. I started the recording once we sat down. She went on and on about how great our relationship had been, how we worked together, all the sweet, nostalgic stuff. So I asked her, straight up, have I ever mistreated you? Hurt you in any way? She said, of course not. Then I looked her in the eyes and asked, then why did you cheat on me? Her face changed instantly, like all the wind had been knocked out of her. She tried to deflect, said Carol must have gotten something wrong. But I stopped her and said, I already knew, long before Carol told me. That was it. Her whole posture shifted. The confidence, the pride, it vanished. She just nodded silently. I told her I was going to talk without interruption, and she agreed. I explained everything, how I had rushed home that day from the doctor, ready to have the hardest conversation of my life. I told her how I saw Brad's car in the driveway, how I checked the cameras, saw they were set to privacy mode, how I left and went to the farm instead of walking through that door. I told her I still had footage. She almost interrupted, probably to ask how, but I held up my hand and kept going. Then I told her about the diagnosis, about how I would not be seeking treatment, about how I was choosing to live what time I had left on my terms. I saw it in her eyes, real heartbreak, but that only made me angrier. How could she cry for me, feel sorry, after everything? I signaled the waitress. She brought my lawyer to the table. He handed me the briefcase and a folder with the letter. I signed the letter right then and asked the waitress to witness it. I told Lisa this was her copy and she was not to come to the farm or contact me or the family after this. I did not want excuses. I did not want explanations. Then I handed her the briefcase. Inside was everything, proof, documentation, and signed divorce papers. I told her, I will not survive a contested divorce. So as long as I'm alive, you can stay in the house in town. But after tonight, I do not want to see you again. She whispered, but I cut her off. I'm leaving. I'm done. Then I walked over, left a huge tip for our waitress, and found the restaurant owner to apologize for not warning him about what was coming. As I stepped outside, my son was waiting by the door, with Carol right behind him. Carol gave me a brief smile and then went in to help Lisa. My son took my truck, and his wife drove me back to the farm. They stayed with me until close to midnight. I finally convinced them to head home. That night, I slept like I had not in months. Felt a massive weight off my chest, but also an emptiness I was not prepared for. The family came out the next day to check on me. I felt a little smothered, but it was a good day overall. Then, in the afternoon, Carol showed up again. She told me Lisa had completely fallen apart Friday night. But the kicker? Saturday morning, she called Brad. After everything, she was desperate. And in that conversation, she finally realized what I already suspected. Brad was just using her. Carol explained that Lisa figured out Brad never really cared, that he had been stringing her along, seeing if she could somehow buy the loan from me. Once the trust informed him that the loan was being converted to company shares and that a full forensic audit was underway, he backed off immediately. My daughter, the one with the MBA, is not wasting any time. She is handling things with precision. Turns out, Lisa's trust is empty. Her only source of income now is her pension. She had been chasing a fantasy. Brad's lifestyle looked glamorous. First-class flights, fancy cars, nice restaurants. While I worked on my farm, drove my old truck, and flew coach. She told Carol she had been planning to divorce me the second Brad gave her the green light. He told her he loved her, said he wanted to marry her, and she believed him. She bet everything on that lie. I will not live to see it, but I know one day my family will tell her exactly what I was worth, how much she really threw away. And I'm so thankful I learned the truth while I still had time to deal with it. But then, Carol said something I did not expect. She threw me completely off guard. After everything that had happened, Carol caught me off guard. She sat across from me, calm as ever, and said, "Now that you're no longer tied down, if you ever need companionship, you know how to reach me." I kind of laughed, not because I found it funny, but because I was genuinely surprised. I looked at her and said, "Why would you, or any woman, want to spend time with me now? There's no long term here. I don't have that kind of future left." She didn't flinch. She leaned in a little and said, "Just because Lisa was too blind to see what she had doesn't mean the rest of the world is. There are women out there, divorced, widowed, who would line up just to spend whatever time they could with a man like you. You're worth that much. You're a hell of a man, and time with you would be a blessing." So I figured, why not be first in line? I was touched. Honestly, it got to me more than I expected. But I reminded her that most people didn't even know Lisa and I were separated. Carol told me not to worry about that. She and Rachel would make sure the truth got around. I thanked her, told her I'd think about it. She smiled and kissed me on the cheek before heading out. After she left, I sat with that for a while, thought it through, and I realized I just do not want that kind of complication in my life, not now. There's so much more I could say, but those are the highlights. Emotionally, I am doing okay. It's been a ride, ups and downs like a roller coaster. What I need now is a few days of peace. Of course, it's about to get loud again. People are going to find out, both about the breakup and my diagnosis. I expect a long stream of well-wishers. And I know they all mean well, but I do not want to be treated differently. Still, life is what it is. Update. I'm still here, still breathing. Every day I wake up on my feet is a win in my book. The cough is worse. I get winded more easily, and there's a lingering discomfort now. But even with all that, it has been a good week. Let's start with Lisa. She's disappeared from the social scene. Her standing in the community crashed fast. Once word got out, she was quietly asked to resign from several leadership roles. A lot of her old friends have turned their backs on her. Some even confronted her directly, asking whether she had been chasing after their husbands. She's tried to reach out to me, directly and through mutual friends, but I've made it clear I have nothing left to say. If she needs closure, that's on her. I gave her everything she needs to know. And yes, I found out more details about the affair. It had been going on for at least 6 months. They took 3 trips together. On one trip, they played newlyweds. On another, they acted like a couple celebrating 20 years of marriage. The last time, they pretended to meet on vacation and stayed at the same hotel. Strangers turned lovers. That was their thing, apparently, role play. She used our house because it was tucked back off the road. No one could see the cars in the driveway. She even bought a second car and parked it in a garage in town, switching vehicles so she wouldn't be recognized when she went to see him. All of that effort just to keep me and the world in the dark. But once I sold Brad's loan to the trust, things shifted. He started pulling away. I guess he felt the heat of getting caught, or maybe the financial fallout made her less valuable to him. Either way, she got drunk and confessed everything to Carol that night. It's clear to me now, Brad wanted the money. Lisa wanted the lifestyle. They were using each other. People like that, they find each other. Like attracts like, I know some folks believe in second chances, in working through betrayal. I respect that, but it is not for me. As for Brad, he is not handling this well. My daughter, with her MBA and sharp instincts, has been moving fast. When the trust took over the loan, she began a forensic audit of his company. He is not pleased. He's been trying to raise money from other investors, but word is spreading fast. His reputation is toast. Turns out, most of my business contacts invest in people, not just numbers. And he's not the kind of man they want to bet on. I do not know what my daughter has planned, but she cares about the employees. If the business can be salvaged, she'll do it for them. Family life has been good. I went to a high school basketball game this week. Had my son, grandson, and some old friend with me. It was a great night. Just guys hanging out, telling old stories, laughing too loud. We also had a poker night. One for the memory books. We've eaten together 3 times this week. Carol came over once and brought dinner. We talked and ate, and while I'm keeping her at arm's length emotionally, I will admit it's been nice having her around. The farm is still my sanctuary. I check fences, visit the animals, work on the equipment. The simple stuff brings me peace. I know this land will stay in the family. That knowledge alone brings me comfort. Friends and acquaintances have been stopping by. Someone called it a living wake, and I suppose that is what this is. And I'm okay with that. I want people to come see me, share stories, laugh, maybe cry a little. It helps. Update. I had a bit of scare. I was found unconscious, still breathing, but they rushed me to the ER. I never technically died, so my do not resuscitate order wasn't needed. But I came pretty close. I hate hospitals. Always have. But now, I hate them more than ever. They ran tests, observed me. I'm back home now. I'm not allowed to drive anymore, on or off the farm. They don't even want me riding the tractor. But I am stubborn. I will keep doing what I can while I can. I now have full-time home health care. The family calls them caregivers. I call them babysitters. But I'm not arguing. I know they are trying to help. When I came to the hospital, the room was full. Carol, my twins, Rachel. The people who love me. Except for one night, someone was always with me. That one night, Lisa showed up. She must have pulled the I'm his wife card with a nurse who did not know the history. I woke up to her stroking my head, holding my hand. I pulled away immediately. She looked hurt, like she was the one being betrayed. She started talking, whispers at first, about how sorry she was. How Brad meant nothing. That she only used him. I just stared at the ceiling. Said nothing. She got upset, louder. Demanded that I respond. A nurse stepped in, bless her. She said she needed to do some checks and asked Lisa to wait outside. Once the door closed, the nurse asked if I was okay. I told her Lisa was my ex-wife and should not be allowed in. She apologized and said she would contact my emergency contacts. Less than an hour later, my daughter and Carol walked in. Lisa was still there, rambling in hushed tones. But when she saw them, she finally left. I quietly asked her to go, told her to stop thinking about herself. There were other patients here. They didn't deserve a scene. She leaned down, kissed my forehead. I flinched, but I let her go without another word. After that, the women in my life made sure I was never alone again. I know my daughter had words with the hospital staff. They'll be more careful now. To me, Lisa is like someone drowning, grabbing at anything nearby. It is not love. It is desperation. I see that now. Brad, the affair partner, is still throwing tantrums. The audit shows no criminal acts, but plenty of shady accounting. He was padding his perks, taking more than his fair share. When my daughter takes control, his income is going to drop fast. She might even move him to a silent minority role. He is furious. He talks about lawsuits, but has not filed anything yet. His name is mud around here, and he knows it. As for Carol, well, she is still here. More often now. Brings me food. Keeps me company. There is no romance, no physical part. Just companionship. And for now, I am okay with that. Dinner's waiting. Another quiet evening. Thank you all for being here. Your messages mean more than I can say. I'll try to reply when I can. Final update from his daughter. I'm so sorry to share that my dad passed away this past week. One of his final wishes was to make sure you all received his last letter. So if you're reading this, that means his journey has come to an end, and he wanted you to know he was ready. In the final days of my life, I spent time writing letters to each member of my family, words just for them. I also recorded short videos so that they could still hear my voice when I was gone. But something kept nudging at me, that I owed one more letter. A last message, not to my family, but to you. This letter is for all of you out there who supported me through these last months. Your kindness, advice, and encouragement meant more than you could possibly know. In such a short span of time, you helped me find strength I did not realize I still had. And more than that, you gave me peace. You helped me give my family the greatest gift I could. One final Christmas week, surrounded by laughter, food, games, love, normalcy. Had I not found the space to speak, to vent, to think out loud, I would have turned to my family. And that would have stolen away the moment I was trying to give them. They may not see it as a gift now, but one day they will. Those little videos you all encouraged me to record, they became treasures. I never would have thought of doing something like that if not for your nudges. Now my family will have another small piece of me, something they can hold on to. Thank you. Truly. Before I go, I have one request. Please be gentle with my family. They're going to feel many things in the coming days and weeks. I know when someone shares a story like mine, people want updates, conclusions, closure. But I ask you to keep those requests to a kind minimum. I have asked them, if they feel up to it, to share one final update about Lisa. But I leave that in their hands. I trust them, and I trust you too. To all of you, I wish you the very best. I am sending you every bit of love, I have left from wherever I end up. Please remember, none of us are promised tomorrow. Know who you are. Be good to the people around you. Say the words while you can. I hope you never have to walk the road I did. But if you ever do, know this. I will walk with you, in spirit, however I can. You matter. You are worth more than you know. Never let anyone convince you otherwise. Thank you feels so small for what I want to say, but it is what I have. So, thank you. I hope we meet again someday, in whatever comes after this. Just not too soon. Final updates from his daughter. Hello again. This is his daughter. Some of you assumed my brother wrote the last update, but it was me. And I want to thank all of you for being a part of my dad's final chapter. He passed away peacefully in his sleep. Dad had planned for every detail, even arranging for an autopsy in advance. He wanted to make sure Lisa could not use any doubt around his death to try to unravel the arrangements he'd made. That was just like him, organized, thoughtful to the end. It turns out it was a heart attack that took him. And honestly, that gives me some comfort. After everything his body had been through, it feels like a small mercy that his final moments were quiet. He was cremated as he wished. Some of his ashes are buried beneath a simple stone in a small cemetery on the farm. The rest? We spread them in the fields during spring planting. Now, he's part of the land he loved. We held the memorial at the farm. Lisa didn't show up. The funeral home had security on hand in case she tried to come. We didn't even need to worry about it. One thing Dad had always talked about was getting us all to move to the farm. For years, he tried to convince us. We'd smile and say maybe, never really taking it seriously. Mostly because we couldn't imagine living so close to Lisa. Now, that's changed. My brother and I, with our spouses, are building homes on the land. We've already picked out beautiful sites. At our urging, Mom and Tom are moving into Dad's old house. It just feels right. We all want to be near each other now. As for Lisa, I used to think I understood what it meant to be a pariah. But watching her life collapse has given me a whole new definition. She's aged 20 years in just a few months. Her spirit is gone. She tried to contest the will and the trust, but it didn't go anywhere. The legal protections Dad put in place held strong. She received her share of their jointly owned assets, but the house in town? That was his before they married. She had no claim. She begged us for it. Dad never cared much for that house. It was just a place. So in a moment I'm only slightly ashamed of, I made her an offer. If she legally changed her name back to her maiden name, she could have it. She agreed. The satisfaction of knowing she no longer carries our father's name? Worth it. She's still living there for now. But I expect she'll sell and disappear. We'll see. Brad, the affair partner, is long gone. Once we finished valuing the company and the trust officially took control, we ended up owning 80%. We had a trusted intermediary offer to buy out Brad's remaining 20%, and he took the deal without hesitation. We haven't heard from him since. If he had focused on building his business instead of chasing someone else's wife, things might have gone differently for him. I don't think he's learned that lesson. And to be honest, I don't care. We've appointed a new CEO, someone we trust. The company is recovering. It's stable. It's ethical. And we gave the employees bonuses. They deserve it. Carol now holds a 1% stake in the trust. She's been a rock for our family and for Dad. She's one of us now. Always will be. Final reflections, 2024. We just rang in the new year. Our first without him. It's heavy. There's a silence that feels permanent. But Dad left us so many gifts. Not just the trust or the letters, but the sense of family he nurtured. We kept our holiday tradition alive. Carol joined us. And even though it was bittersweet, it was beautiful. Dad left each of us one more present and more letters. We know there will be more. One already arrived at a grandchild's graduation last spring. I imagine there will be wedding day letters, college notes, first job encouragements. That was who he was. He thought ahead. Home construction is underway. And as the seasons shift on this land, I understand now why he loved this place so much. The rhythm of it, the steadiness. I've started watching the sun rise and set from his favorite spots. Not every day, not like he did, but sometimes. And those moments feel like time with him. Lisa's story? Well, she had a stroke this fall. She survived barely. She's in a care facility now, learning to speak and walk again. The stroke gained her a little sympathy in the community. Even Rachel, Tom, and the grandkids have checked on her. I'm not there yet. Maybe I never will be. As for Brad, he's vanished. All we know is that a bankruptcy law firm reached out to the company. No official filing yet. Without him dragging it down, the company's back in the black. And so, that's the end of the story. We miss him every day, but we carry his lessons, his love, and his legacy. We're okay, just like he wanted.